IVM.
The Pragati Podcast with Pawan and Hamsini. They look at economics and politics. It sounds boring, but we're not sure if it really is. New episodes out on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Alright, please note that the language and ideas presented on the show might not be suitable for everyone. If you're under 18, make sure your mom isn't around. If you're over 80, why is your mom around?
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
And on the latest edition of Cock and Bull, we have Amit, Doshi and Dinkar from Geek Fruit joining us. Why? Apparently no one has a reason. It's all about Cock and Bull.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Yes, on this edition of Cock and Bull, which is also part of the Cyrus Says stable, I'm going to give you a hint, ladies and gentlemen. That sound was not the early Kishori Amonkar. That was me with a cold. Now, every time we have a cold here in our country, everybody offers solutions. I have been told, and I kid you not, one lady, elderly middle-class lady, has told me to put my finger on the top of my nose for 10 minutes every day and rub it, and the cold will go away. The sad part is I actually tried. Of course, it means nothing. My point is, the cold has no cure, just like baldness and everything else. There is no cure for the cold. You have to suffer it 1 to 10 days and just accept it and go on with your life. It's like marriage. Once it's there, it's there. Nothing you can do about it.
And that's what Cyrus Says.
It's called Cock and Bull. Let's roll with Dinkar and Amit.
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
I'm pointing because apparently we're being shot at the same time.
Yeah, I know. We're doing this. This is a new experiment for us.
We're amongst the cheapest shoots ever because there's this guy who I met downstairs in the lift. He's picked up his ugly phone and is just shooting whatever he wants to. He has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
Early Satyajit Rai, you think?
No, I think
He
he
has
has the
potential.
talent.
Yes, he dresses like
He's
him for sure.
doing some experimental close-up shots now.
So we've lost the Maharashtrians with my Amonkar remark.
Okay.
We've lost the Bengalis with Satyajit Ray. So now it's up to
Okay.
y'all to destroy the rest of the country between the two
Shall
of
we
you.
start with the Gujaratis?
Yes, Amit. Su Chalech, as we say in passing.
What do you think of what's going on?
Well, at the time of recording this, we have only phase 1.
Yeah.
And Congress is crying foul.
Yes.
It's a difficult one to predict. I think we need to wait a while.
Uh-huh.
But what I personally believe is BJP will come back.
I think
for
so
sure.
too. But I mean,
there will be a few marks, a few crosses. There'll be a little bit of a fight.
the fact that Congress is making inroads in Gujarat itself is
Surat.
kind of it's not
5 years ago, you'd dare put a Congress flag
Yeah.
up in Surat, and
Exactly.
apparently they were like all over Surat.
Yeah. No, so, I mean, I think there's fatigue, right? People get tired of the same prime minister.
See, now I think you're trying to point fingers at demonetization and GST and all this, having not made as good a mark.
But demonetization.
I don't know how true that is.
I think demonetization definitely has been this, right? I mean,
You
I
can't
guess,
mess with the trading community.
Exactly.
I mean, we've grown up with the same community around us, and you can't kill Diwali,
No, you
Dussehra,
cannot.
that period. That's where you make all your money.
No, you cannot.
Dinkar has no interest in this.
I don't know. I was actually I was waiting for a point to jump in, but don't you think that this is happening? You've seen BJP's rhetoric now is
Right.
not focused on development anymore. They're going with this whole Pakistan angle just because of demonetization.
That is almost like a twist in a Manmohan Desai film. It was going in one direction, suddenly they went the other way.
Well, I mean, but that's not unexpected either, right? I mean, what are they going to do at this point? I mean, their economic experiments have not taken off in the way that they would have liked them to. So, I mean, what else are they going to do but resort
But
back
suddenly
to
go
where
what about Pakistan?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also it's a question of when you're in power and your sheet is there, your balance sheet is there for everyone to look at. So at the end of the day, the problem with that is that suddenly people will say, well, wait a minute, how much has really happened?
Exactly.
So that's always going to be the case. Let's face it, 90% of every constituency anywhere in the world.
Governance is a lot harder
Governance
than
is a lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, there's no
They've
question
been in
about that.
power in Gujarat for what, like 20 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
since the late 90s.
But according to the slogans, 160 years. Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, let me also
In a
put
country
this-
where anti-incumbency rules.
Yeah,
if you
but
look around,
that's
anti-incumbency
what's kind of crazy, right? I mean, the fact that they've been so long, which is why I feel like, there is bound to be a certain amount of Congress inroads at this point in time, because I mean, it's just been forever, right? But you know what? I mean, the one thing that just kind of drove me nuts is we all more or less fall on a similar kind of thinking in terms of political this, right? And then for people on what I would guess we would call our side to put across stupid, dumbass rumors is just so annoying and so
Such as?
irritating. Bluetooth hacking of EVM machines. Bluetooth signals are being caught by EVM machines. I'm looking at this and I'm just like, my God, are you guys really?
But are the EVM machines faultless? It's a machine at the end of the day.
Nobody's saying it's faultless. But to kind of say that Bluetooth signals are being caught by EVM machines gives the impression that people are using their cell phones and hacking into EVM machines.
Right.
That's not how that works.
Not yet, at least.
No, it's not. It's
Anybody could
simply
do it,
not.
yeah.
The EVM machines that have been constructed by the Election Commission have been constructed with some of these thoughts in mind. They're not dumbasses. Now, malfunction is a different thing than hacking.
So why is Germany and countries like Germany, Japan arguably have rejected the EVM?
Because they are, see, at the end of it, any machine can be hacked.
Because all the instructions are in English, and these countries don't speak English. No.
Well, they can make their own, right? But I mean, like, we made our own.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, see, anything
And
can
our
be...
instructions are in BJP. Sorry, go on.
Anything can be hacked. Okay, any kind of system that you build can be hacked. There's no question about
That's what
being foolproof.
it's like the Aadhaar card. We'll come back to that. End of the day, I mean, these are not foolproof things.
No, nothing is foolproof. But at the same time, just because something isn't foolproof doesn't mean that you have to maximize every position and say that unless it's a perfect solution, we will not make any progress.
I like that old-fashioned thing where you wrote on a chit and you wrapped it up and then you gave it to the watchman.
Right.
The watchman put it inside one little box,
Which is, of course, unhackable.
Which was the wrong box.
Yeah, which is unhackable, right?
Unhackable. Dinkar, my friend, unhackable those were.
All you needed to do to hack that is just replace the box, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I say replace a political party. Each one gets 5 years each and end it. Yeah.
No, but I find this really nuts, right? I mean, like, the idea of saying that you can hack EVM machines with Bluetooth is just so ridiculous.
Okay, since you're a tech guy, I don't know, Dinkar is a tech guy as well?
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
So you're a tech guy is here.
He runs the show called Geek Fruit, so
exactly.
I'm like, yeah, so he's got a techie.
Close enough.
It's an interest,
Yeah, it's a
but you're the
techie-ish.
tech doctorate. Now, so can you or can you not hack that EVM machine? Not with Bluetooth, but can you or can you not get into
To
it?
hack an EVM machine means a very systematic kind of degree of hack. This would be required. One machine can be hacked.
Milord, I'm asking a question.
I'm answering your
Can
question.
you?
I'm answering your question. You can hack an EVM machine.
That's all I want to hear.
But no. But then I mean, like, you're simplifying my answer beyond what it is, right? I mean, like, yes, you can hack an
It's a
an
yes or
EVM
no
machine.
question.
It is not a yes or no question because by saying there's a yes or no question,
You're giving a Mani Shankar Iyer answer. It's going on and on. Go on.
it's not a yes or no question because yes, you can hack one individual EVM machine, but to do it on a mass scale means you need access to each and every one of those machines. You need to be able to spend some time with each and every one of those machines, which implies a conspiracy on a grand scale.
When you're in charge of the country, what else do you do?
No, but I mean, like, come on.
Bridge, मैंने बनाएगा hospital. मेरा काम नहीं है.
You call me cynical, but I don't believe in conspiracies.
I'm just kidding. I just want to know why it was rejected by Western powers.
Oh.
By one of the most efficient countries in the world, like Germany. Let's
Right.
face it, a country which is they don't know the word dishonest.
Because-
I've been there 3
yeah,
times.
yeah.
They don't know what it is to be dishonest.
Because
They'll be like,
they-
you're ugly. They don't know it's an insult. It's just the way it is.
They're so efficient that generally that their paper voting is a lot more efficient than what our paper voting would
Yeah.
be, right? So I mean, like, the marginal gains that they're probably getting through EVM is not worth it. In our case,
Is that the reason? The
Yes.
cost of company is not worth it. Nothing else.
No. Also, it's a lot easier to hack paper than it is to hack EVMs. EVMs require systematic kind of conspiracy to do
You
this.
can't have 5
whereas-
bullies standing outside the polling booth.
When
with
the
guns.
polling booth is
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
you stuff ballots, right? I mean, like, if you're talking about like paper ballots, you stuff ballots, and all of a sudden you got different election results, right? So I mean, like, that is something that we had so many problems with in the 80s that people seem to conveniently forget right now. Stuffing ballots was like a real thing, like, I mean, like, standing outside a thing. So I mean, like, this is a better solution for our circumstance. In Germany and Japan, nobody is sitting, like, you don't have 6 goons sitting outside trying to stuff ballots.
You're saying they're too honest to actually stuff ballots.
No, it's, I mean, like, this
Don't
elections
understand what it's like to go under the table.
It's
there.
not as big a undertaking as what we're doing over here, right? I mean,
Right.
like, we have our
Okay.
elections are so massive.
Let's go away from EVM machines. We got caught in that whole dazzle there for a second. Let's talk about the first phase as we record this. Score at the moment is still BJP ahead, right?
It's saying so. I mean, like, I've heard both. I've heard BJP ahead. Oh no, I've always heard BJP ahead, but
No,
I've
you got
heard
neck to neck and BJP ahead.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
other.
There's no other
yeah.
this. Yeah, I've not heard Congress ahead at all.
Yeah.
That is unlikely to happen.
That is very
Well,
unlikely
neck to
happen.
neck or close to
Listen,
call is a huge move.
Yeah, if Congress is able to pull off 25-30% vote and be in Gujarat, that is just a ridiculous.
And
kind of
Gujarat. Let's forget this.
Yeah,
that is
Gujarat.
that's an insane kind of. That's a big kind of.
If he loses his grip on Gujarat slightly, also, it just gives you a sense that the country is not that much behind the government.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
It loses. You basically lose that polish, right, to a great
But
degree.
300 odd seats in parliament, etc., you have a 60-70% mandate. I mean, I don't think that'll ever happen again.
No, you have a record that people can run against. I mean, like, it really is just that, right? People
Yeah.
can say that your demonetization was a terrible idea, your GST application
Who would want to be? It's like being the club president.
Yeah.
Who'd want this job?
I would not.
Because everybody will be after you.
I
you know?
think as club president, at least there are bribes to be taken. Society president, building society president is the worst.
Club and building society guys, because everybody's after you.
Yeah.
You know, my pipe.
Yeah.
My neighbor's pipe. There's no end to it.
No, but at least in clubs,
no
there's
double meaning. Huh? Actual pipes involved here and flats and leakages.
But at least in clubs, there's like legitimately, like you can actually make money. You can actually take bribes. In building society, what bribes are you going to take? And still everybody's going to accuse you of taking bribes.
But you
all the
can
time.
try.
Huh?
Don't let the country down. Where there's a bribe to be given or taken, be there. Or be square.
All right.
Okay,
let's move on.
I think my last word on the topic is
Yes.
that we need to, December 18th is the result day. As usual, it's a dry day, but luckily all days are dry days, so it's not going to affect anybody in Gujarat. But we'll know
We'll know, and we'll be
everybody stands.
recording on the
But
19th.
let's make a call. Yeah, we'll record after that.
Yeah.
So let's make a call. Amit? Scorecard.
BJP comfortably wins, but Congress
Give me a vague percentage.
probably
40% mandate?
little more than that, I would say.
Close to half.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would lean towards 40.
40. I would also lean to 40.
Yeah.
I think they'll struggle to get over 40%.
That'd be.
I think between Hardik Patel and 2-3 others who have pushed the envelope below them, plus the Congress.
You mean
they'll lose
40% in terms of votes or 40% in terms of seats?
Seats.
I think they'll go over 50% in seats for sure.
Really?
I don't think so.
I think so.
So you have it here. We'll come back and discuss this. If Amit is wrong, he removes his clothes and does the podcast nude. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Fair?
I won't be here for that
Yes.
Oh, come on, bro.
Yeah,
You suffer the country, you suffer Amit. Next.
All right. German intelligence unmasked alleged covert Chinese social media profiles. This is kind of a continuation from what we were talking about last time, right? Apparently, China is doing a lot of hacky stuff.
So is this China, as you say, the Chinese government? Or China as in entrepreneurs in China who know how to hack?
No, this seems to be government
driven.
Pushed. Yeah,
The government pretending to be
We
entrepreneurs.
will now take over Arunachal Pradesh. We will also, sorry, my German accent is coming out. That one German-Chinese guy mixed up, yeah.
But yeah, it seems like what's happening is that the government is creating fake profiles and trying to become social media friends with a whole bunch of different ministers and bodies and NGOs and stuff like that.
It's a PR exercise almost.
It's a PR exercise, but it's also kind of like a, become friends and like get information
They're
exercise as well.
catfishing the whole of Germany.
Exactly, essentially. I think they're catfishing the entire world. I don't think it's just Germany.
Well, Germany is actually nothing for them actually in terms of size. 3 days work. It's done.
Yeah, well, big economy, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I meant. I meant if they want to hack, the 15 Chinese guys can get through.
Okay,
Just take
There's
all
not
of
that
Germany.
much there, yeah.
Yeah, the scale of this surprised me. They're actually going and talking to individual politicians.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very micro level
what,
of...
you're trying to lobby here? What do you think is the idea? You're trying to get a presence? What is the idea?
I think the idea is one, promote China-friendly stuff, right? Just internationally.
So you want them in your pocket?
Not necessarily in your pocket. You want to be. So I think this is influencer marketing, essentially, right?
Okay. It's lobbying only in some way.
Yeah, I mean, you become friends with somebody on social media. You will start seeing their posts on your social media posts. When you are consistently exposed to certain types of opinions, then you are more likely to start seeing those kinds of opinions as stuff that you are more
3
compatible
weeks later,
with.
Bayern Munich shirts are made in China. All of them.
They might already be.
3 weeks ago, yeah. I mean, like I'm thinking
Bayern
more
Munich
like
might be owned by China.
I'm thinking more like 30 years ago.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, so I mean, like that's kind of interesting. This, right? Because I mean, like China has been spreading its wings like really, really strongly. And
You're
like
telling us?
Yeah.
Huh?
No, I'm not telling
You
you.
got Doklam and everything else to look on. Their troops never went anywhere. They 2 steps backwards and back in again.
I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago about just the kind of crazy investments that Chinese companies have been making all over the world, right? Like they have like a $10 million investment in a resort in upstate New York. They have a $5 million investment in some resort in Africa. They just all over the place. They're just putting money into all kinds of different things, which is again like it's their way of kind of trying to promote their own soft power. And I think that's what this is about.
So they're
as well.
conquering the world one at a time with different techniques.
Yep.
One is just influencing influential politics or whatever you want to call it. One is just money power, outright money power. And third, I think, is making sure that nobody else can buy products except the ones made by them, which slowly seems to be happening.
It is. I mean, everything's being made by China right now.
The cultural influence is growing stronger in America, particularly. Like
Jackie Chan is everywhere, Dinkar.
He's always been everywhere. He can squeeze in anywhere.
And he's now such a multicultural human being. He can do talk shows in 32 countries simultaneously.
Yeah.
He's that good.
He's the true soft power of China. I feel like if you made Jackie Chan the ambassador of China to the world,
You'd win a lot of hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, he could kick your...
If Jackie Chan was the profile that was trying to get in touch with German nationals.
But he could also kick your leaders on the head as a form of greeting.
Also true.
I mean, it's just
What
like
surprised me about that German story is that they actually named individual profiles and said these are fake. So it's literally the German intelligence agency saying, don't be friends with these people on Facebook.
But that's kind of ridiculous too, because I mean, like, creating new profiles, how difficult is that?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, that's really. But I guess. So one of the things that people do see is, right, if you are friends with certain people on your social profiles, that kind of leads more people to become friends with you, right? Mm-hmm. So if you, for example, have on your Instagram, if you are followed by big-time celebrities, a lot of people are going to start following you just because they're following you.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably what they were trying to attempt here as well, right? By becoming friends with certain mainstream politicians and that kind of thing, they're hoping that the accounts get credibility.
Also, I think a lot of people are looking at this as investment. So even a German politician would be like, what the hell? What is the worst thing that can come out of this? I may as well, engage.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily good or bad things or black or white. It's just somewhere in the middle.
It
and
is,
then
yeah.
you see where it goes from there.
Exactly.
Because China is the new rising power. Now, if an Indian was trying to do it, they'll think we're trying to get citizenship. It's always the same
We've
problem.
been trying to do it for ages. Indians are like sending messages to people all over the world going like, hey, do you want to be friends?
You want to be friendship with me?
The only
It's always
reason
like-
we're not the story is because people aren't accepting our friend requests. China, they're like, let's check it out. India, they're like, nahi.
See, our requests are dodgy. So always about citizenship and marriage, and the whole village will follow. Remember that? Munich will suddenly become like what? Alibag.
All right.
What up next?
Let's see. Should we talk about the wildfires in California?
A subject which is close to my heart, and let me tell you, if you have money to give, please give the money to the wildfires in California.
Well, I mean, it's not about money, right? It's more of I think, environmental story.
I just thought
right?
I'd put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm one of those Mother Teresa sort of people, cares about everybody in every fire.
That's true, man.
Wherever there's a fire in the world, Dinkar, I care.
A fire where
Even
one
if it's just
person has died,
fireplace.
apparently.
Yeah.
One person who was a 70-year-old lady.
In a
who-
Western country, one person dying is an epidemic.
It's
they
an
go berserk.
epidemic, yeah.
They declare a holiday. The whole week is off for schools.
I don't think it's a big tragedy in that sense, but I think the...
Sorry, Amit. Were we too flippant?
well, no. I think what's interesting over there is that it is more... the thing is that it's an environmental story, right? I mean, like the...
And they've had bad karma. Let's be honest. Let's call it out. A typhoon and flood and this and that. I mean, it just goes on in California.
So
Plus bad movies. A governor who's better in the gym than in the, parliament or whatever.
Speaking of bad karma, though, how this came about,
Oh.
I read this. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. The fire is mainly because of eucalyptus trees in California, which was sold to them by Australians in 1920.
Okay.
So a bunch
Damn,
of businessmen
Aussies,
just
I
bought
tell
like
you.
a ton of eucalyptus trees, thinking we're going to plant these, we're going to be millionaires. But they didn't realize the wood takes 100 years to mature to be used commercially. So a ton of them just went out of business.
Okay.
And now, like literally 100 years later, when those trees are coming close to maturity, they're all burning.
Wow, what a story. It can't
Australia
happen here.
as a whole has just duped California.
And
I'm
let me-
just thinking eucalyptus fire. I mean, like, does that like smell like?
Stop it.
Maybe really.
I mean,
Next
like,
you'll quote the Eagles. Stop it.
What?
It's like aromatherapy for the
Yeah,
entire
that's what
state.
I'm just wondering.
My
right?
question
So
to you
the
is,
state is burning, but they're all
it
really
cannot-
calm.
They're all
this,
like, yeah.
this cannot happen in India, so we're safe because we can't pronounce eucalyptus.
Yeah.
There, you hear me just now?
Yeah.
It won't happen.
Eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus. Yeah, tough one.
All right. Should we
Take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
I think we should take a break
All right.
and practice eucalyptus, all of us together. Eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus.
Sounds sexual.
We're from the Daily Pow, a Bombay-specific food and culture website, and we have a weekly podcast called The Powdcast.
That's pow with an O, not with a V.
Why is it with an O and not with a V when most people spell pow with a V?
Because it's pow, not puff.
And some people also spell it with a U.
Like
P-
pow,
Pau,
like feet.
yeah.
Like pow lagu.
Yeah, like Paulagu. So weird. To listen to more of us and what we have to say about the city and its culture and its food, listen to the Powdcast every week on IVM Podcasts.
All right, it's called Cock and Bull, and with me is Dinkar, who has his own show.
Hello.
Yes,
And
Geek
for some
Fruit.
reason has been demoted to our show.
Well,
And Amit.
yeah, we want so Dinkar.
want fresh voices.
It's his annual appearance on Cyrus'
This is
show,
our
right?
version of influencer marketing.
Yeah.
We're like, well, maybe if we get on Cyrus' show, someone will listen to our show. Starting with you guys.
Are they really looking up to our show? Which means we need psycho analysis for everybody in this
I
place.
think that is part of what needs
So
to
if you're
happen.
out there, you can help us, doctor, and if you're female, please come. Now,
please talk to us about the Ashes since you're the only one who knows
No, I just
anything
thought we
about
should
it.
put a twinkle or a little touch of sport from time to time.
No, I
find
agree.
nobody wants to talk about sport anymore.
No, but let's talk about the
I
Ashes.
want to talk about the controversy outside the Ashes, which is in cricket, the Aussie journalists and the media are known to be like the 12th man of Australia. So when you show Australia, they go for you in a jingoistic frenzy, like shark eating, or wolves or the killer whales, like real strategists. And they do a good job. And the Brits, with their lad culture, have really put their foot in their mouth. First, Ben Stokes went and beat up somebody and got into all kinds of controversy back home in England. Then they had this incident with their wicketkeeper batsman as well, Bairstow, who headbutted one of the Aussie players. Okay. And now they had a little fight amongst themselves in the same Perth bar last week, where Ben Dockett, who's not in the original team but with the England A team, but has a chance to come into the main team, well, he had a fight with James Anderson, one of the seniors in the team, fast bowler, and poured beer on his head. And now he's been sent home.
Okay.
So now the Aussie media and the Aussie fans are just going to have, they've got all this stuff to play with. So when these guys come out to field, the kind of crap they have to listen to. I'm sure they'll be doing the action of pouring beer on their head and things like that. So. When Anderson comes in to bowl.
I would have thought pouring beer on your head is like, it's just par for the course for a...
See, in India, that's great because it's hot. So you're so grateful when, your friend Vasant goes, please, thank you.
Like, this is a teammate. He poured beer
Yeah, they got into a fight.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what's the big deal, though?
It just makes them look stupid. They're professional sportsmen.
Yeah, sure.
When it comes out, see, when it stays in the bar, it doesn't matter. We all get into trouble and do silly things. But when it comes out, these are like celebrities in their little worlds and sportsmen, and people look up to them. So all the goodies are saying, the children look up to them. This is how they behave, etc., etc. Sad news: Ben Dockett has been sent home.
Okay.
He'll end the tour doing nothing, then go straight back to England. And when asked to comment, Dockett said a word that rhymes with Duckett.
Okay.
Smart Alec. But that's my story about the Ashes. Oh, by the way, Australia leading 2-0 as we record this.
What about, I saw a lot of WhatsApp messages this weekend over the Sri Lanka-India cricket match.
It wasn't a match.
So I mean, I heard
India thought it was a T20. We just finished it off in no time. And
so messages I got were like, serves them right. It will teach them how to play properly, and it'll basically make them humble.
For some reason, our authorities messed it up, and they produced wickets for the test matches, which were like for one-day cricket, so you can bat forever.
Okay.
And then produced a test wicket in the one-day game, and then obviously the match was reduced to 112 all out, and the match ended in half time.
Okay.
Faster than a football game.
Why was there so much rage, though? We'll teach them how to play and stuff. I didn't know that.
I don't know, there's a lot of age jingoism, and then there's also reverse jingoism. In our country, there's all these polar effects to everything. Nobody seems to be in the middle ever.
Right.
So you're either like, overrated team, or you're like, I love this team, I'll die with the team names on my heart tattooed.
Yes.
Which reminds me, we have a wedding to talk about.
We do? Oh, yeah.
Right.
Virat Kohli. I hope it
Verushka, right? Isn't that the...
David Dhawan's latest film.
Yes.
Virat Kohli number whatever. Sorry about that. Well, Virat and Anushka got married in Tuscany. Now, how cheap is that? There are only 5 guests. Punjabi wedding with 5 guests. Is that a wedding?
So they flew them to Tuscany.
Yeah, but come on, 5 guests? The poorest Indian has at least 6 guests. There's no Indian in the history of India who's had a wedding
with
this
5
small.
people.
This man makes more money than all of us put together, plus 50,000 people we know.
I think
so does she. And they just fly 5 guests to Tuscany. Amazing. Were you invited, Amit?
I was not.
Dinkar?
No, I was
So
not.
our shows are going nowhere.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right.
I guess we don't make the 5 people.
Yeah, but I suppose they just want their privacy. Maybe that's the real reason.
Yeah,
it was a complete secret, right? Until they just suddenly said, hey, we're married now.
Yeah.
And put the pictures up on Instagram.
Yeah. And when you're at the airport with exactly your family members and a pandit and all that, I mean, whoa, people can put it together. It's just silly.
But, okay, since we're doing the Bollywood stuff, Akshay Kumar is making 2 biopics this year.
On himself?
Akshay
Kumar Part 1. Akshay Kumar Part 2.
That would be a fascinating story, I would say.
It actually would be
Kumar.
interesting.
Yeah.
His story, I think, would be a lot more interesting than at least... actually, both of these are kind of interesting. So one he's making is Padman, which is based on the sanitary napkin doctor.
Yeah.
And the other one he is
You think that's not a storyline that would sell, but yeah.
It could be interesting, right? I mean, but the other one that he's doing is about the 1948 India hockey team.
Yes.
It's called Gold, and that I think can be.
So finally, our aging heroes are playing the right age.
Anything to say on this?
I think Bollywood's improved a little bit in the last few. You're the authority for this one.
On Bollywood, not really.
On the fact that they've gone with this. When they're looking for biopics, they're looking for more. There's one on Sushant Singh Rajput. Dhoni was not the worst choice. There was some sort of. If you go back in time, there've been ridiculous people playing Sikandar and Porus and all what have you. Also, the biopics seem to be a little bit more realistic. One thing I have a problem with making biopics on people who are alive. I just feel because that person just walks walks around with his collar up. I'm Milkha Singh. How are you? It just doesn't seem classy enough for me. Wait for people to die and then go for it.
Then go for it.
Then you
as soon
remember
as they're
them-
dead, you're like, I'm buying those rights and making that
day,
movie.
you can be at the funeral signing a check. I don't care. But, just wait for them to pop.
This has been a trend that Akshay Kumar especially has been doing of late, right? These sort of, not just biopics, but nationally conscious
Yeah,
sort
the
of
toilet
movies.
thing, huh?
The toilet. Amir Khan does that as well. I
Yeah,
think
man.
Akshay Kumar is like trying
These
to
are two
follow
people who
that.
never use public toilets.
Yeah.
They're going to teach
But I
us a
think
lesson.
Akshay Kumar is making interesting choices, right? Even if they suck, right? He made that Alien movie, which
He's
is a
actually-
horrible
yeah,
movie, but it was an interesting
He's
choice.
actually got more BALLS than we think.
Yeah.
All said and done.
Yeah, exactly. Now he makes some interesting choices.
He's in the
movies he's
position
doing.
where he can, though. He
Perhaps
can do
that-
whatever he
perhaps
wants.
The money is not an issue anymore.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, that's how you
So what
get
you're saying is one day when our podcast make money, we can do the same thing. We
I
can
know.
actually
Whatever we
talk
want.
to a peon from a bank. That's our show.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, क्या करता है? कुछ नहीं करता? ठीक है. And the show will be
100 crores.
100 crores. Because we don't care. But we, in some way, established that peons are people too, and they have a good life.
Yes.
It's nice that he cares because you could be a Salman Khan and make the same movie again and again and again.
Right.
So it's interesting that
No,
he's trying
making,
stuff.
he's making interesting choices, right? But I think that's what makes
See, the
him-
48 hockey team should be applauded.
It should.
I mean, we've got gold medalist, champion sportsmen who are just completely under the radar. So I have no problem with that at all.
Right.
The first one, which is...
Padman.
Padman is a very interesting choice because, like I said, I mean, not being cynical, but I'm like, not exactly something that will make
Yeah,
you get up and say,
you
oh, I
wouldn't
want to
think,
watch
yeah.
this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Great social service, no one's denying that, of course.
Yeah.
We have to say the right thing. The powers that be are listening. But would you, I mean, on the face of it, give me a two-liner on a guy who's invented or designed the pad,
Well, so I think
sanitary napkin?
there are interesting-
How much can you talk about on this?
Well,
You
so
know,
there are
like half square,
interesting
round,
stories in
blue test, whatever, ink test. Sorry. Yeah.
No, there are interesting stories like not necessarily this specific, right? But like I mean, like The Founder, right? The Michael Keaton movie. It's a really, really interesting movie where again they're talking about the ins and outs of like how he started setting up McDonald's. So I mean, like the mechanics of
Yeah, but see, the point about McDonald's is every time they mention it, I go. But every time they mention sanitary napkin, I'm like, oops, do I need one? Soon I will.
But I think it's just like it's the story of a similar vein, right? I mean, like
The
if you look at
entrepreneur.
you look at
The vision.
the vision. You look at The Big Short, or
It's about the human being. I get it.
Yeah,
No,
so
fair
I mean,
enough.
I think that there can be interesting stories of this, and I like the fact that it's not that they're doing something which has more depth to it than just like
And finding real heroes in
Yeah.
a sense. People
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
achieved something
Exactly.
and done something which has changed the world or made things better,
Right.
etc. Et
No,
cetera.
and what's cool is that they're looking at business not from like a Singhania versus Malhotra. I'm trying to.
Why do we have
upgrade
only
your
4
rank.
names in Hindi films? The Kapoors versus the Singhanias versus the
Malhotras, yeah,
Malhotras.
no. Bajajes.
Bajajes. Don't forget the Bajajes.
Exactly.
They're huge.
No, but I mean,
4,000
like,
films.
business in Indian movies is always like, I'm trying to sneak this land. I'm trying to bid this land out from you. You know what I mean? Like,
Or that reverse leftism that they promote where, the poor person is
Yes.
always disowned and bullied and molested, and the rich zamindar has always got a big laugh, a big
Yeah.
moustache, a Great Dane. I mean, it's all wrong.
exactly. So I
Everybody
like.
knows poor people keep Great Danes.
I like the idea that they're making sure that they're making movies on like basically small scale
Because I was trying
entrepreneurship.
to ask Dinkar because he's actually the guy who studies this market more than I presume all of us. You'd think that there's an effort to be more sincere.
I think so. That's
Effort. Let's not talk
yeah.
about aesthetics. Effort. So effort we should applaud.
We're getting better. I mean, like the 2-line pitches of movies are getting more interesting. Let's put it that way, right?
It's
all-
not about the Singhanias versus
Yeah.
the poor people anymore.
It's got to stop that shit, man. You've got to stop that. People are not. How many generations are going to suffer the same thing?
I don't know, man.
The actor's son in the same role with the same names in the same chateau in Paris. Come on, Jesus, come on, back off.
All right.
That's
Let's get into so 2 more topics, right? So one quick one. Let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin. Have you seen the crazy
Yes,
surge?
but my worry
How much
about-
Bitcoin do you have?
I will not answer that.
Okay.
I take the fourth on that one. What is it? What is it worth as we speak?
I think it's at 22,000 or something like that.
Dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, if you're just at the right time,
Yeah.
how am I doshi? We could have just stopped working.
I know.
Like the Winklevoss twins.
Okay, but I
The
think,
Winklevoss
but you
twins.
want to talk about the fact that it got.
It just
What's the
basically
word?
it started surging. The price has gone.
Yeah,
prices have
yeah,
gone
yeah,
nuts. So, I mean, have you looked at
a
Bitcoin
fake
at all?
high.
Have you thought at all about Bitcoin? Have you looked into what it
I've
is?
discussed it a lot actually.
Yeah.
Go on.
I considered it, but it's just such a complicated process, and I
Right.
don't
Also, it's
get
un-
it. It
it's under
seems
the
like
radar.
an inflated market.
So it's not.
It-
Yeah,
It's a
it
parallel
is.
market.
Yeah.
It is.
and it's a market that doesn't exist in a sense.
So it's a virtual market. It's also a market which is what's interesting. So I mean, like there are two things, right? It tries to put itself off as a currency, but it's actually a commodity, right? So I mean, like it is something which is tied to what is the dollar rate or what is the rupee rate or something like that. It is not its own. It doesn't generate its own kind of this. So what I think is really interesting about so I think the technology behind Bitcoin is super interesting, right? They use this thing called blockchain, which is essentially a way of a publicly distributed ledger. So everybody can see what is happening on a minute by minute basis.
So the sheet available to you anytime.
To anybody, right? And I think that is a very powerful way to kind of track transactions, right? I mean, like this idea of distributed availability of transaction data, I think that's really interesting. Whether Bitcoin itself is something that is going to be there,
take on the euro, the dollar, and everything else.
That I have no
you
idea
never know,
about.
Amit. The world is changing too fast.
You don't know. I mean, there are a lot of advantages to cryptocurrency, right? I mean, like a lot of right now, like so I have a company that we deal with in the US, right? Which we need to make payments to. They host our stuff and all that kind of stuff. I pay them by credit card, but for some reason over the last 4 months, their merchant ID has been tagged as like a security risk of some nature. Okay. So every time when I want to make a payment to them, it gets blocked. So then I have to call the credit card company in the next day, tell them please make whitelist this. I don't know. I mean, like I've been doing this for the last since August. This has been going on.
This is in America or India? It sounds like India.
It's India.
I'm dealing with some
I'm dealing with an
companies.
American company called
in
India. So basically, my credit card is an ICICI credit card. The American company is a company called Lipson. I have to make a payment to Lipson.
Once the phone rang, it's ICICI.
And what happens with it is that every time I have to make the payment, it won't go through, right? I have to call the bank on the day before, say that, hey, please make sure that Lipson is going to charge today. Make sure that it goes through.
So what is your point, Amit?
My point is Bitcoin makes all this stuff go away.
It's simple, easier to facilitate business, end of the matter.
It's an easy way to make a
Plus
payment.
your real value
cross-border.
you can check all the time.
Exactly.
In a very simple process because you all have a sheet saying it's surging.
Whether it's Bitcoin or any kind of cryptocurrency, right? Any kind of
Bitcoin is the mother of all the cryptocurrencies.
Bitcoin is the first
the
one is
cryptocurrency.
close.
It's
The one is close.
Yeah, I mean, like
the other players are all much smaller.
no, well, Ethereum is growing like massively.
So what is it worth?
It's I don't think it's the same kind. See, one of the big problems with Bitcoin is volatility, right? I mean, the fact that it jumps up and down so much is not a good thing. It's not currency.
It comes back again now. So if you're playing like a long ball, you're okay.
You don't know that, no?
But it's not ever dipped so much. It's not come back again.
But it's not been around that long.
Not been around that
been
long.
a
in
couple of
the
years.
limited time that we have, it's always come back.
But it's always gone up only, no? And how long is it going to go up? It's going up because there is a shortage
now
of
you're going
coins.
to that. Okay, so
It
you're
feels
saying
like it'll
the
only
bubble
come
will
down
burst.
from this point,
Huh?
in fact. It feels like it'll only come down from this
Bitcoin
point.
holders, bad
No,
news
because
to
see,
finance experts.
what happens is Bitcoin becomes more rare. The
It's
more
actually
people
a
mine it,
Bitcoin.
the rarer it becomes. So in actuality, the way it's designed, it should get more and more expensive.
Right.
That is kind of the way that it is designed. But but who knows? You know, I mean, like, will that actually stay? Will that not stay? Who knows? I mean, like...
we have the answer, but not on this podcast. You'll have to come back and listen to the next
go
one.
listen to Pesa Vesa. There have been a great couple of episodes on that show about
All right.
Bitcoin.
Do you think the
outside.
advantage of Bitcoin goes away since the government will ask us to link Bitcoin to Aadhaar?
Of course. No question.
Of course.
Come
It's a
on,
cryptocurrency,
anytime.
but please link it to
Of
your
course.
Aadhaar.
All right, last question. The question which we have Dinkar here for, or the last topic, the reason why we decided we should get a Geek Fruit guy. Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Oh, so excited. It comes out on the 15th.
Yes.
I hope people heard that.
Yeah.
That Jedi was really weak.
Okay, sorry. Star Wars The Last Jedi.
No oxygen left in tank. Must phone. E.T. in other movie. Yeah. Sorry.
It's
go on.
looking great. The early reviews that we've seen are really, really promising.
Yeah.
Reviews meaning like I
Will
try
it
and avoid.
release unlike Padmavati?
Yes, it's looking like it'll release. Thankfully.
Well,
We've had
I
a
like the
heart attack
amount of
else.
hoardings that it has out on the road right now.
Look at the kind of money, Amit, that they spend on these kind of films. What is 2 hoardings? Or 3 hoardings?
Yeah,
They
it's actually
have
nothing.
4 hoardings on the Bandra main
But
junction.
they might as well because they've got
4 hoardings
the
there.
kind of money in one frame of that film is what you make a love story on.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised because it's not a big movie for them. I was talking to someone from Disney India once who said The Force Awakens was one of their weakest films that year in the Indian market
That is shocking to me.
compared to Bollywood because it's UTV
Well,
Disney,
compared to
right?
Bollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to Bollywood, yeah. But I mean, like,
So
for
they're
an
actually
English
making
movie,
an effort this time.
Yeah.
For an English movie, yes.
Yeah.
But when you dub them, these kind of films, which are all about special effects and, the magic of cinema, does the dubbed version take on Hindi film releases?
I don't think that's
A big-
happened
yeah.
since like Godzilla and like in the early 90s, right, when the first ones were done. At that point in time, we saw a lot of stories about how the English movies which were being dubbed, like because of
The
that.
ones with fantastic special.
Yeah,
special
I remember
effects, CSI and all that.
Godzilla particularly, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, the
Yeah.
one that came out in the late 90s, which we spoke about
Who
on
would think
IBM Live.
that he grew up to be this Jewish boy from New York who grew up to be Godzilla?
Yeah,
Jeez.
but I remember that one specifically, particularly did really well when it was dubbed in other languages.
I would think because if you can just dub it with the kind of effects that they have, they just raise the game.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to compete with them.
But it's not fun.
I
to
remember they had a very India-specific marketing campaign.
No,
for
that's because
Godzilla,
it's not fun.
Where there were giant hoardings in Hyderabad where I was at the time saying like his foot is bigger than Golconda Fort. I was like, that's a lot of thought.
Depends on which political party is in power, that hoarding comes down. But I know what you're saying, that it loses its essence in different languages.
Yeah.
But when you don't speak English and Hindi like you do,
Then you
it's
get-
different.
yeah, exactly.
You're getting it only from one perspective in
Yeah.
a sense, and it hits you. Because you've seen Ramsey Brothers 40 years ago with green blood and, dark lighting and a man with a knife going, he's stammering just to say one word. And then suddenly you come to this and it's all over the place, with all the lighting and the effects and the things traveling at 2,000 miles per hour. It's huge. It really hits you.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, like, you definitely get, you see stuff that you're not seeing elsewhere, right? So, I mean, like, in that sense, yeah, it is a...
Have you guys seen the porn version?
Of Star Wars?
Yeah. Anyway, let's
Geek
move
Fruit
on.
did an entire episode on porn versions of sci-fi movies once.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do remember that.
You guys really work hard. I appreciate that. I salute
We
you.
worked really hard for that one.
Yeah. Well done, guys. Well done.
Yes.
We have the AMAs.
Yes, we have the AMA.
Let's switch to AMAs by pressing this button. Ding!
Hi, I'm Amit Verma, the host of the weekly podcast The Seen and the Unseen. In my show, I examine the seen effects and the unintended consequences of public policy and private action. I show how policies meant to help the poor often end up hurting the poor. I've done episodes so far on demonetization, GST, surgical strikes, immigration and MRP, and I will continue my forensic assault on the truth in the weeks to come.
Catch the show every Monday on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you prefer. Or visit seenunseen.in for all the latest updates.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Back here, we're laughing at the AMAs, not because of the questions, but because of our naked producers running around.
Yeah, so Naveen's going to take a photo of Cyrus with his headphones right now and put that up on social media.
You might as well. And
It's
we
an
have a new
interesting
anchor.
style choice.
Dinkar has taken over. He's the anchor for this AMA segment.
I've taken over for Naveen, yes.
Off you go.
Yeah, it isn't that hard apparently. So, our first question comes from Dr. Salman, who asks, is it possible
Is
to
it
get
the
a
actor?
live... No, it's Dr. Salman.
You're an actor. You can put any.
Maybe he's a doctor. Maybe he has like an honorary
Yeah,
degree.
you don't think he's got an honorary PhD
He
from
probably
Lucky
has.
University?
Yeah, of course. From lovely professional
Lovely,
university.
lovely.
And
Great.
why haven't I? Why haven't I? Damn it.
If lovely professional university, if you're listening, please get a degree to Cyrus ASAP. Okay. Is it possible to get a live view of the studio you people do the podcast in? We were just doing that.
Yes, we did. We actually
Live
did
view.
just
Yeah.
do that. We did a
Then Naveen-
Facebook Live.
No, guys. Then somebody has to actually shoot the entire studio. You can't just shoot our 3 mugs.
Okay.
Because they want to see the furniture. This is again a question of aesthetics. Not
It's
us.
mainly about the furniture.
Yeah, it's about the table, the chair, the walls.
The way you wear your headphones.
Even this lovely engineer here who's fallen asleep in the first 5 minutes of any program we've ever done.
But you should take a look at our Instagram page. We have a lot of different pictures of
You
the
can
studio.
promote
inside.
everything you want in the next few
that's what I'm
minutes.
saying.
Go on.
Instagram page, Facebook page, Twitter page, man. I mean, IVM Podcast. Follow all this stuff. You'll be able to find
And
all
tell
the
your
pictures.
friends.
This
You
seems...
should tell your friends.
It's odd.
If we sound
Yeah.
desperate, it's only because we are.
Yeah,
Amit's taken the opportunity to plug it. So I think this question is staged. Dr. Salman.
Yeah.
Like,
He's one of
Amit
us.
just sneaked a question in before the thing saying like, why don't you ask a very specific question about our social media?
And why can't Salman Rushdie just face us? Huh? I mean, we're not Iran. We're okay.
Okay, the next question comes from Pratik Gupta, who says, do you think the speed breakers in India should have an Aadhaar card? There seems to be too many illegitimate ones on Bangalore roads.
It is a joke. And I've just come back from Bangalore. Pratik, I salute you for living in Bangalore. It's become worse than Mumbai. I don't know what you guys are doing. Move to Bangalore as soon as possible. The roads are a mess. That drive from the airport is... People kill themselves. I have seen people just jump out of the car. Of course, it's going at no pace, so you live again. Or continue living, whichever is the right phrase. And, God, it's terrible. Explain to me why speed breakers just appear for no reason all over the place. I'll tell you. Mostly to get votes from slum dwellers and people like that. You put a speed breaker so that, the car will stop
We're
when
looking
your
after
kids are
your
running across
safety.
the road. They don't think about the fact that they shouldn't be slum dwellers and they shouldn't be running across the road. That's not important in our civic society. What's important is to put a speed breaker. Cause a traffic jam, cause car broadcast to dislodge themselves and cause people to just go into rages.
No, and it's not effective, right? There have been studies
Of course
to
it's
prove
not effective.
that this doesn't solve any of the issues.
Nothing.
Because I mean, like, it
causes irateness. People getting more upset. I'm telling you. Speed breakers should, in my opinion, should be banned. They make no sense.
Banned, but I mean, like, they need to be.
If we as an ordered society pay attention to rules, both pedestrian and motorists, everything is fine. You don't need these breakers. Don't cross in the middle of the road.
But we don't follow the rules.
We don't.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, but I think banned is a strong word, right? I mean, like, we have a speed
broken down into many pieces and made into jigsaw puzzles.
On roads, on public roads, maybe, but on private roads, you should be able to have speed breakers, right? I mean, like in my building, I think that we have speed breakers and they're valuable. We should have those speed breakers there because there are areas where kids
As
play.
we age, when we have to cross speed breakers with our feet, it takes half an hour. Have you seen an old man crossing a speed breaker? He has to put one leg up, then the other leg up, then the other leg down. It takes hours.
Isn't that just walking?
No, it's not walking. It's going up and down speed breakers.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's their version of Disney. Florida, the whole experience when you're 86, of course, with Alzheimer's and everything else falling apart.
Right.
Which is many people who work here, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question comes from Shubham Balodi, who says, Cyrus, who are you backing up in the Ashes this year?
Well, by now, it's all over. Australia will win. There's no question about it. England is in tatters. I spoke to my Australian representative, and Andrew said, no chance for the Poms.
I agree with Cyrus.
All Australia. Since you don't like it, you don't say anything. You stick to the NBA, mate.
I agree with Cyrus since he's the expert.
Not a fan of cricket.
I used to be a fan of cricket, but I haven't watched in like ages.
Yeah,
not since IPL 2.
You have to follow to know, right? I mean, like, I'll watch a little IPL here and there, but I'm
an old traditionalist, conservative cricket lover. Test match, Ashes, big, team clashes, that kind of thing.
I used to be super into it. I just think there's been so much saturation that I've lost
Too much
interest.
Cricket can kill you.
Too much cricket,
As Queen said in his wonderful song many years ago. Freddie Mercury.
Okay. Of course.
Too much love can kill you. You haven't heard the song? I'll sing it for you later.
All right,
but I'll sit on your lap.
Okay.
Next.
Vishnupriya asks, how would you fix the price of a machine that would convert aloo to gold? In brackets, Sona, in case you didn't get what gold was.
Beautifully put, the sarcasm and cynicism and the lack of faith and the fact that she actually thinks we are complete idiots and not off the mark.
It's like she wrote the question and went but what if they don't understand it?
When you have a Parsi and a Gujarati in the same room and you discuss gold, it has to go to the Gujarati. All the Parsi will do is win gold at some athletics championship while he will manufacture the gold and make money. Yes, sir.
How would you price this machine, Amit?
It's actually a really difficult question if I take it seriously, but I'll not take it seriously and I'll take it as a joke and I'll just say I'll price it at $1 million.
That's really cheap, right?
You Bitcoin lover, you.
Honestly, so what happens is that you have, with the creation of this machine, you have made the cost of gold non-existent. It's no longer, it has any value.
But I suspect you've driven up the price of aloo a lot.
Well, you have and you
Suddenly
haven't, because
aloo
is a product that you can grow. With more ground, you just grow it.
Yeah, but once people know that it can be converted to gold, suddenly you've driven up the price.
Irish thought of that about 200 years ago.
How much aloo are you going to grow? How much aloo are you going to grow when gold's value is going to continuously fall? Gold no longer is holding its value in any way whatsoever, right?
See what you did? You drew out the real man in him. And now half an hour will go into this bizarre explanation for which people will shoot themselves and ask for the speed breakers back again.
I want to know where this question comes from. Does Vishnupriya have such a machine?
There are many people
she's just trying to decide how much to sell it for.
As a Geek Fruit lover and as a geek societal man, you must understand a lot of people like you who waste a lot of time on all kinds of trivial things, and that's their life. Okay, one more question.
Okay, let's ask a question from, I'm just going to pick it random here. Anuj Sharma says, is there such a thing as a vegetarian dhansak or is it all a scam?
No, of course there's a vegetarian dhansak. There are about 9-10 vegetables involved in any case to make it. It's a thick dal. If you want to, as you said, a serious answer.
It's basically a dal with mutton in it,
when we have veg people over who will not eat meat, we always make two vessels, the veg dhansak separate. And the
veg dhansak's pretty good.
And actually, the dal is, you don't need anything with it. You can eat the dal with anything, rice, roti, anything. You'll get it.
It is about the gravy.
It's a heavy dal. It's not a dal actually. What do you call it? It's like a...
It's dhansak.
Yeah, it's thick, man.
It's really thick.
It is really thick. I mean, like, it's really heavy. It's got.
I'm feeling hungry now.
It's mixed dal and stuff like that.
There are about 9 or 10 vegetables involved.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different stuff in it.
If there were more Parsi, there'd be no vegetables left. I've been saying this from the beginning. Be careful. Be careful what you wish for, Geo Parsi.
Yeah, but I like veg dhansak. I think veg dhansak is pretty good.
I think you should say dhansak because it's the dal that's everything. It's not so much about the meat or the veg or anything. The dal carries itself.
That's what it is. Yeah,
it's a dish on its own.
Everything else is just garnish.
Yeah. All right, cheers. All right. That's it from Cock and Bull. Amit and Dinkar signing out. Well, I will play with myself. As in PlayStation, that kind of thing. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. If you have any questions, write to us online, and you can mail us as well. We will answer. We have a doctor in the house called May.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.